Here, let's see. Yay, and we are live. Welcome to our weekly conversations Q&A session with myself, with Shelley, and with Jody. So firstly, if you're watching on Facebook, fantastic. At the top of this post, there will be some writing. Click there so that StreamYard can show us who you are, because we love to say your name and welcome you. So please do that. If you're coming in, where are you coming in from in the world? Like, we'd love to know where you are. I'm in Ireland. Jody, you're in
the United States.
And Shelley?
Ontario, Canada. We just got a big storm.
So please let us know where you're coming in from, and make sure that you can see and hear us okay. So today we have a super live for you. We're going to be talking about intellect versus intelligence. Hello, somebody's in from Coldstream, BC, Belmont, Ontario. Remember to click the link so we know who it is, unless one of you gals check in on Facebook and see. Auckland, New Zealand, is that Abby? Oh, wow. Fabulous. So good that you're here and you're watching us live. We're so happy you're here. So we're going to be talking about, great to see you. We're going to be talking about intellect and intelligence. So for most of us, we use our intellect, the smarty pants part of our brain, we use that. And so when we talk about intelligence, like, we're not talking about your A levels, your degree, we don't mean that. We don't mean like, oh, I've passed all these exams, I must be really intelligent and smart. We're not talking about that. We are talking about your innate intelligence, your spiritual, emotional intelligence, not the exams that you've passed, because they're great, like, but that's not what we mean. So I'm going to ask Shelley and Jody to talk about what does that mean for them, and then we're going to talk about how to use your imagination to revise the day. Stick around for that, folks. That is a super powerful tool, and it's a tool that we are using with our clients, that Angie's coaching our clients. So hang around. So ladies, who would like to go first and talk about intellect and intelligence? I'm excited to hear.
I'll go first. Jody's got herself muted. Good girl. I didn't. So our intellect, right? I was a law clerk by trade before I got into coaching, right? And found my passion. Used my intellect there all the time. You have to research, you got to prepare for trials, da. There was no spiritual intelligence there whatsoever, right? Now, spiritual intelligence to me is something that we're always doing our own interpersonal upgrade. Like, what part of my spiritual intelligence is meditating every day, right? Angie, our mentor, is of love science, scientific. Joe Dispenza, right? Our spiritual intelligence actually physically, when you're meditating, can change the structure in your brain, right? And
your body,
your body. So it's spiritual intelligence is then, like you said, Paula, your emotional, right? Your imagination, right? And these are tools that, like any other tool, you need to be in a practicing, exercising, whatever word you want to use. And my spiritual intelligence is, I have it trump now. Instead of my intellectual, my spiritual intelligence trumps my intellectual. What's that mean? I use my feeling. Does it feel light? Does it feel heavy? I trust my emotions. I trust that inner voice in me, right? If it's telling me to do something and say my old version of myself comes in and goes, I don't know if you should do that, and starts justifying and telling me why I shouldn't, that's my intellect. That's my intellect. I will go back and I will, I may meditate depending on what it is. I might go and journal. I'm going to do these things to enhance my spiritual intelligence. And what is the number one thing opposed to meditating and visualization? Was the number one thing I do to exercise my spiritual intelligence every day is I study me. I study me, not things, me.
Shelley,
So,
can I ask you something? So I can really identify with you because I worked as a teacher, and so I did use my intuition because I was reading other people, not me. But I believe that I shut myself down and became very, much about, thirst for knowledge, looking to do more courses, looking to do more things. And so I shut down that part of me, with my imagination. I used my imagination, but not to get what I want. I was getting what I didn't want. But I had shut down that feminine side of me. And I don't mean feminine as a woman. I mean feminine energy. So, I shut that down. I shut it down. Like I didn't even
shut
get
it
emotional.
down too, because working in law is very masculine, right? When you're researching for a trial, and say you have this case, and that you're working for this client, what you're actually doing is finding other cases related to back up the evidence of your argument, right? So it's document, document, document. You can't just walk into a courtroom and go on your intuition or your feeling. They want the facts, right? Everything is in law, everything is factual, it's documented. It's a very masculine energy. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's different, right? It's not, I found it very energy draining. It's just a one-way lane. And it's one of the reasons after 30 years that I got out of the profession, because it wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't fun. It wasn't energy. I made a good living, but it's not just about the money, and that's what I was finding, right?
So
It's
Shelley,
that inner happiness, right?
I'd like to ask you a little bit more for those of our listeners listening in. When you talk about the intellect and the intelligence, and you talked about studying you, what does that really entail? What does that look like? I know what it looks like for me because I've been studying myself as well. But our listeners, what does it look like for you, Shelley, to study yourself? Why is that important?
It's having a coach or a mentor. Being a coach, I remember one of my previous coaches always telling me that you can be a good coach or you can be a great coach. A great coach is always studying because they're always growing. Well, no matter what profession you're in, if you want to grow your spiritual intelligence, your spiritual practice, you have a mentor. You have a program that you're studying. It's not about the program, it's the thought-provoking questions or direction or support from the program. And then the one that I love the most is being in a community of like-minded people that you're in the same energy. You're all focused on a goal. You have no time to live in the gap, in the negative. You only have time and energy to live in the gain and always working towards something positive. If some contrast comes in, that's a gift. That's feedback. But yeah,
That's for another time. That's
Pardon?
for another time. We'll talk about contrast another time.
I know,
Jody,
I get carried away. I'm Angie. I get on a tangent, right? But it's studying, right? It's studying me. It's having a mentor, a coach, a program, and a community, right? It's so important. It's so important.
Well, thank you so much for detailing that. Paula, I know you wanted to ask. Go ahead, Paula.
I wanted to ask you, Jody, because I feel myself and Shelley have kind of, but I really want to have some input from yourself, Jody. I'd really love to know, what do you feel that what does it mean for you, intellect and intelligence?
So for me, the difference between the intellect and intelligence is the way that you're seeing things, thinking about things, and moving in your body. When you're in your intellect, you're being stimulated a part of your mind that is the studying of the materials, studying of the information. Using your intelligence is the oneness within you. It's taking the material that you've learned intellectually and it's embodying and putting it into your actions. So you're going from your thoughts, your intellect. So you're, as Shelley says, you're using both. It's not one or the other. You need the combination of the intellect and the intelligence in order for creation to occur. Absolutely. For me, the importance of studying me was I was living life in a very intellectual way. I had my pen, I was taking notes. However, I wasn't seeing the outcome that I truly desired. And it wasn't until, as Shelley calls it, studying herself. I studied myself. I was studying the way I was responding to the material in a very intellectual way. I was forcing it when, in fact, when I allowed it and received it and moved in a flow rather than in an aggressive way, that's where change happened for me.
Love it.
I love that. And I actually think that, using our intellect is where we make decisions. We have our higher mental faculties, we've reason, and we make decisions in that part of our mind. That's another discussion. It's a big discussion, but I think our intelligence as well, like when we're talking about, don't know what that is. Somebody's alarm. Using our intelligence for me, when we're talking about integrating what we're learning, when we're learning about ourselves, when we're going towards a goal, is really about getting into the feeling and fusing with the feeling. Like, what would it be like for you to reach that goal? Let's say you want to grow your business. Let's say you want to earn a certain amount. Like, what is that going to feel like? So you got to really integrate with the feeling. This is where we're using our innate intelligence, our imagination, and we're really fusing with the feeling, but also we're fusing with the belief. Because if deep down our intelligence knows, our innate intelligence knows whether we believe or not. And if we don't believe it ain't going to happen, it's not happening. So it's really important. Those things that Shelley talked about are really important. But just to sort of break it down and explain, how it would work. So the other thing that we wanted to talk about today, I'm going to ask you, Jody, to start with this, and then I'll ask Shelley. We've been talking about revise the day. So, how does that work? We've been reading a certain book as well, and it's amazing. Like, the story in the book is incredible. So, Judy, I talked a wee bit about it today, how I revised my day moment to moment today with a familial situation. So, for you, what is your understanding of revise the day, and how does that work? Let's say we're in a business and the shit's hitting the fan, the orders aren't coming in, and the clients are canceling. Like, this is what happens. It's life. How can we revise what we don't like that's going on?
So I love what you said there. You can use this in your personal life like you did with your family, but you can also use it in your business. You can use it anywhere when you want to shift what's actually occurring for you in that moment, is to take your focus off of what's physically occurring in front of you, and you redirect it towards what you truly want to have happen. And the way that really looks is you need to be an observer of what's occurring for you. And then you say to yourself, okay, is this really what I want? And so instead of saying no, I'm now using the phrase, what would I love? What would I love to have happen right in this moment? And when I reflect on what's occurred, I see the parts of that that's actually a lesson learned that I can move forward in and say, listen, I did really well here. Here's where I'd like to move forward and shift my thoughts and moving it. So you're actually revising an event from your past and moving it into your future by shifting it, the perspective that you're seeing it. It's very similar to what we're reading is pruning shears. So when Angie talks about, pruning a grapevine, you want to get to the parts where that it's, yep, there you go. Awakened imagination we're reading. And you want to find the parts that are allowing the parts that are disintegrating. You want to release those parts in order for new growth to happen. But in order for you to see the parts that are disintegrating, you need to become aware of it. And how do you become aware of it? You look at it and you say to yourself, or you say to the situation, what is actually occurring here and what can I revise to shift my perspective and move forward in growth? It's like weeding in a garden. You need to get the weeds out for the flowers to flourish, but you need to get in there to be aware of those weeds and then, remove them and replace them with good soil.
It's a really good analogy using a garden. I really, really like that. And I like how this can work. I used it today at home with a dishwashing situation and it was win-win. But, you can use it in your business life, if things are happening in your business and fails and challenges come up. It's just life. It's how we handle it. It's how do we react or do we respond? Shelley, I'd love to hear your take on Revise the Day.
Well, yes. I'm thinking about another mentor of mine who would say, what would you love? Right? So what would you love? Just switch your feelings over to that. But what I've learned from Angie is there's actually a few steps before that, right? It's, you have a situation, say like in your business, it's a shitty day. Orders aren't getting packed and shipped out the way they want, or clients are not keeping their appointments, whatever. And you're just not enjoying your day. Stop, right? Stop, take a breath. And I love these 3 questions that Angie always says to ask, what have I done well? Revise your day. Look at it. What have you done well? Next, what have I learned? Maybe there's a reason why the orders aren't getting done correctly. Maybe something needs to be changed, right? And then, so what have you learned from that? Next, what am I willing to implement, right? What am I willing to implement? So with a business, these are 3 important, really good questions, right? That leads you to what would you love? So there's those 3 little things to think about. And I agree with Jody, you can use this in your personal life with relationships too. You can sit down, right? Paula with her dirty kitchen and her dishwasher today, right? And getting the dishes done. What did you do well? What did you learn, right? You got to get order, right? And what are you willing to implement? It's really quite simple. Then you get to what would I love, right? When we're in a situation, like when we're taking the weeds out, like Jody said, I think in that moment, we know what we'd love. It's the contrast that helps us, those weeds, to ask these 3 questions to get us to what we love and revise the day. Because that's what you're doing when you're doing this. You're actually revising your day. You're revising the moment. You're revising the situation. And another thing, I love that Angie pointed out in one of our studies today was you can do this at any point in your day. Your day could be going along. You could be mid-afternoon and something happens. You don't have to revise the whole day. It could be the remainder of the day, right? And I love that. So
what I liked it. It's brilliant, brilliant suggestions. I'm so glad because it really gives so much clarity. And I have more, even though I know this, but it's very clear how you've both explained that. But in the book, it's really interesting. The lady is an artist and she ends up hurting her foot. The janitor, the caretaker, has stacked the chairs and there's a wobbly chair. One falls in her foot and anyway, she doesn't notice it until later. And she's this big purple swollen foot. And she actually goes through a similar process in her day. What happened? She relived the situations with the janitor, her relationship with the janitor, and she was able to, pinpoint what happened, revise that, and command her body that it was going to heal, that she was fine. And she couldn't walk, like her foot was flopping about. The next morning she woke up and she was fine. There was a tiny pink spot on her foot and she thought it was like a dream. So she revised the day and healed her body. Because often when we hurt ourselves or things happen, we're not at ease. And when we are not at ease, can lead to dis-ease. And further on, if we keep suppressing this, it can lead to emotional, physical issues for us if we don't address it. So we can totally, heal our bodies. We have a lot of power. We're not even remotely tapping into the power that we have within us to heal ourselves. We're not aware. So it's an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool. Ladies, we're going to have to wrap up. Have we any final words we want to say before we go?
Just add on about healing your body, right? Spiritual intelligence. It's keeping and practicing that.
And while you were talking, Paula, what was really fascinating to me is responsibility. That just rang clear. Taking responsibility for what you're causing in your own life. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that story.
The cause and the effect. Absolutely. So folks, we're live here. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and I think we're on YouTube as well. So we will drop a link after this for our LinkedIn group. So if you're a business owner and you're working on some goals and you're looking to elevate to the next level, we would love to hear from you. You are welcome to join either our Facebook group, our LinkedIn group. Please reach out to us if you have more questions. If you would like a conversation, we're more than happy to have a chat with you. We are live every Thursday at the same time. Our mentor, Angie, is live on a Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yes,
3 p.m.
correct.
Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time. And we believe she's going to be streaming live on LinkedIn as well, too. So for all the LinkedIn people and people on YouTube, we are excited because she's incredible and we would love you to hear from her. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Any questions, please reach out to us. We're always really happy to network and chat and talk to people who are business owners or prospective business owners. So have a great evening, great day, take care, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.